All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Sonoma. Cody the Dominator Burke and Indy Kirchenbauer on the front row. Austin Edwards, Stephen Hoffman on the second row. CJ Jeffries, Patrick Pieper on the third row. JJ Ringo, Chad Ragsdale on the fourth. Jason Bright and Raymond Kimmel rounding out the top 10. Devin McDonald starting at 11 next to Alex Harper in 12th. Jeremy Davis, Jeremy Queener 13th and 14th. Clay Kirchenbauer in 15th. Tyler Thomas 16th. Joshua Rudolph 17th. Scott Roney in 18th. Craig Stuka in 19th. And Derek Schilling in 20th. Austin Roscoff starting in 21st next to Bill Lux in 22nd. Scott Snodgrass 23rd. Shane Hoffman 24th. Brian Hewitt, Mark Kluge, Ryan McDaniel, Malachi Martin, Joe Lux, Trevor Lawton, David Lux, Jesse Gordon, and Nick Ringo round out the 33-car field here tonight. Hey, good evening, Centurion. Folks, as always, don't forget, if you have a favorite driver in the field, don't forget to drop into the comments and let us know who you're cheering for. All right, they're not doing a full pace lap, and it does appear Burke will have to go to the tail end of the field. Remember, because Cody has won over 5 races, 8 wins so far this season, he had to qualify and then drop to the tail end. Anil, nobody tonight, thankfully. Here we go. Pace car goes in as they head through the horseshoe. Indy Kirchenbauer in control alongside CJ Jeffries. Here they come into the kink. And the green flag flies. They are underway at Sonoma. How quickly will we see problems? How quickly will we see somebody try and get 3 wide coming up the hill? Stacking up a little bit in turn 2. Indy Kirchenbauer, CJ Jeffries battle for the lead. Indy has the nose ahead, but CJ got the better run there, still side by side. Indy finally pulls ahead. Stephen Hoffman now into third. Jason Bright already up 5 spots into 4th. Patrick Pieper currently holds on in 5th. Craig Stuka also already on the move. Craig up 6 spots now into 13th. Shane Hoffman up 5 spots now into 19th. And the Dominator, who had to drop to the tail end of the field, started back in 33rd, is already up to 23rd after 1 lap. Indy Kirchenbauer leads the first lap. CJ still in second, Stephen Hoffman in third, Jason Bright right there with them in 4th. It does look like Devin McDonald back in 8th is about where the field breaks up. Jeremy Davis in 9th, 2 1/4 seconds back. And Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. All right, there's Ryan in the 66. They head down the hill into the turn. He locks the brakes up to avoid the car ahead, and it sends him spinning. Drivers are looking at about 17 to 19 laps on a tank of fuel. Austin was actually nice to him tonight. They do have 3 sets of tires and 3 fast repairs. And speaking of guys named Austin the GOAT Edwards back tonight as he flies by Scott Roney with Cody on his bumper. Austin also had to go to the tail end of the field for having more than 5 wins. Both drivers dropped to the back, both of them halfway back to the front. Austin currently in 16th, Cody currently in 17th. Clay Kirchner currently sitting back in 10th, up 5 spots already. Indy Kirchner has the fastest lap of the night so far. He's got clean air and he is pulling away. CJ still in second, about 1.7 seconds back. Stephen Hoffman in third, still has Jason Bright right there with him. Patrick Pieper in 5th, JJ Ringo in 6th, Chad Ragsdale in 7th, all right there together as well. Wow, Devin took that turn a bit wide, almost got the wall, and Devin loses the back end. Wow, great save by Devin McDonald. Clay Kirchner now up into 9th, Alex Harper in 10th. Indy's lead continues to grow here at Sonoma. Nick Ringo has had a problem back behind. All right, there is Nick. Oh, it loses the back end through the S's. Hits the tire barrier. Wow. Does get clipped by one car. And I do believe that was Bill Lux that ended up clipping him. Is showing a little bit of damage, but not terrible at the moment. Nick has gotten it to pit road. Indy still pulling away from CJ. Stephen Hoffman still holding on in 3rd. But just outside the top 10, Austin Edwards now to 11th, Cody Burke now to 12th. Both drivers already up over 20 spots. completed his pit stop. And looks like Bill Lux is coming in for repairs. Craig Stuckert now up 5 spots into 14th. Jeremy Queener in 15th. Joshua Rudolph in 16th. Scott Roney currently in 17th. Austin Ruskoff in 18th. Tyler Thomas in 19th. And Raymond Kimmel in 20th. Kimmel had a problem a moment ago. All right, there's Kimmel. He was right in the thick of a battle. Off into the turn to the inside. Just hits the brakes. Out clips another car. They both save it. And Indy already encountering lap traffic. David Lux appears to be having significant connection problems. He is on his way off pit road. CJ Jeffries has managed to close the gap just a little bit, now down to 2.2 seconds. Stephen Hoffman in third, Jason Bright in fourth. Patrick Pieper in fifth, JJ Ringo in sixth. JJ all over Patrick. And Jason doing a little drifting up the hill. And it looks like Bill Lux and Brian McDaniel have both had problems. There is Bill as he comes down toward the horseshoe. Looks like he just overbraked, trying to get out of the leader's way. Ryan McDaniel at the top of the hill. He just goes a bit wide. Does manage to get it back down. Indy's lead currently 2.5 seconds over CJ. Stephen Hoffman, Jason Bright, Patrick Pieper, JJ Ringo, all right there together. Chad Ragsdale just 3/4 of a second back. Evan McDonald in 8th. Austin the Goat Edwards now to 9th. And Cody the Dominator Burke in 10th. And Tyler Thomas has had a problem. All right, there's Tyler as they come into the horseshoe. On the power, just snaps around. And a moment ago, Trevor Lawton heads into the horseshoe. Oh, he locked him up. Barely keeps it out of the wall. Well, Brandon, I hope you're doing okay, buddy. Austin Edwards now up to 8th. Cody Burke in 9th. These two just continue to charge back up. Andy Kirchenbauer's lead, 2.7 seconds now over CJ. That lead has been going back and forth between 2.2 and 2.7. And it looks like Tyler Thomas and Jeremy Queener had a problem. Oh, there they are coming up the hill. Tyler goes wide into the dirt, quickly recovers. Then a second later, Jeremy Queener goes off. Jeremy Davis follows. Oh, dang. Brandon, I hope you get to feeling better and get home soon, buddy. Greg Stucco was moving up earlier, now up 6 spots into 13th. Austin Ruskoff up 4 spots into 17th. Shane Hoffman up 6 spots into 18th. Scott Snodgrass up 4 spots into 19th. And Brian Hewitt now up 5 spots into 20th. Joe Lux also gaining some ground, up 4 spots into 25th. Jesse Gordon didn't qualify. He is up 5 spots into 27th. But Indy the Kid, that lead is getting bigger. His lead now 3.7 seconds over CJ Jeffries. Stephen Hoffman, Jason Bright, Patrick Pieper, and now Chad Ragsdale all nose to tail. JJ Ringo holding on at 7th. And Austin and Cody are marching forward. They are the 2 fastest cars on track. And nearly identical lap times. Indy Kirchner about to be back into heavy lap traffic, as it does appear Bill Lux and David Lux are both out early. I do know David Lux was having significant connection problems. Indy sliding by Trevor Lawton and Mark Kluge. They are just a few laps shy of the first pit stop between laps 17 and 19. Joe Lux has had a major problem. All right, there's Joe as he comes out of the S's. locks up the brakes and slams into the barrier. Ouch. And you can see there the engine is letting go. Team Lux definitely having a rough night here tonight. Joe has managed, he ended up having to tow it in, but he will get it repaired and get back out. Malachi has had a problem. There's Malachi coming to the top of the hill, goes a bit wide. Then a moment later, Brian Hewitt on the power snaps around. Indy continuing to pull away. His lead now 4.8 seconds over CJ. Stephen Hoffman, Jason Bright, Patrick Pieper, Chad Ragsdale, all right there together, just waiting for the car ahead to make a mistake. Riding on board with Chad Ragsdale. He gets to the top of the hill, heads down. Carrying as much speed as possible, hits the gear shift, then back down. Easing back onto the power as he comes down through the S's. Right on Pieper's bumper, trying to force Patrick to make a mistake. And headed down into the horseshoe, goes to the outside, but lap car ahead. And back on the power across the start-finish line and back up the hill, and we have lost a couple of cars. We have had several incidents. All right, starting off, there is Raymond Kimmel. On the brakes into the horseshoe, just plows it into the wall. Austin Ruskoff back behind, makes it past, but then on the power into the horseshoe, he snaps around. And Patrick Pieper, Jason Bright battling. They head into the horseshoe. Pieper tries to get to the inside, clips Jason, and they both get stalled. JJ Ringo and Jason Bright are coming in. And Jason has picked up a black flag. And Chad Ragsdale has picked up a slowdown coming up the hill. Must have got off in the dirt a little. Austin Edwards now up into fifth, Cody Burke into sixth, as these two continue their march. Meanwhile, a couple more incidents back behind. The leader is in. Indy Kirchenbauer's in. CJ Jeffries is in. Stephen Hoffman is coming in. Chad Ragsdale is staying out. Austin Edwards in. Cody Burke is in. And Ragsdale will lead it at the line. Likely to see 4 tires and fuel for everybody. And yep, right sides go up. All right, a moment ago, Scott Snodgrass, very slow coming down the hill. He just pulls off. And Trevor Lawton a moment later, coming into the horseshoe, he just overshoots it and plows it into the fence. And it does appear the majority of the field has completed stops. And CJ Jeffries, who was running second before pit stops, has picked up a black flag. So we will see CJ in this time. Meanwhile, Chad Ragsdale finally in for his stop. Alex Harper will be coming in for his stop as well. And CJ is into service penalty. And Indy the Kid Kirchenbauer reclaims the lead. And Malachi Martin has had a problem. There's Malachi at the far end of the track. And into that turn, just on the brakes, slides wide. After pit stops, Indy has the lead, but in second place is the Dominator. Cody is 6 seconds behind Indy and closing in. Stephen Hoffman still holding on to third. Austin Edwards in fourth. Chad Ragsdale in fifth. And you know the kid's team is warning him the Dominator is on the way. Now we know that Cody Burke is locked into the playoffs. Still about 8 weeks to go until the playoffs. Burke is locked in. If Stephen Hoffman gets a top 5 here tonight, he should lock in. Austin Edwards really trying to get past Hoffman. Austin trying to set up a run here. Will he be able to take him into the horseshoe? He's got to look to the inside. Hoffman slides under braking. Joe Lux is in the wall. And the GOAT is now to third. Let's see what happened with Joe. All right, there's Joe headed into the horseshoe. Just on the power too soon. The car wouldn't turn. He went straight to the wall. And then a moment later, Derek Schilling. Derek just a bit wide, the back end stepping out. Indy the Kid now has a 7-second lead. Burke gained a lot of ground on pit road, but he did not take tires, and it is starting to show a bit. Austin Edwards in third did take on tires, and it is paying off. He's closing in on the Dominator, as Chad Ragsdale has had a problem. There's Ragsdale coming through the S's. Sets up into the horseshoe, locks the brakes, slides wide, but does keep it out of the tires. And a moment ago, Jesse Gordon coming out of the S's on the brake, snaps loose. It is getting wild out there. Chad Ragsdale still in fourth, Stephen Hoffman in fifth. Hoffman just has to hold on to that to lock into the playoffs tonight. Austin about 2.4 seconds behind the Dominator, hoping the fresh tires will pay off. Well, CJ will definitely miss you, buddy. And Tyler Thomas has had a problem, as has Jesse Gordon. All right, Tyler coming up the hill, ends up in the dirt. Does finally get it gathered up. And Jesse Gordon comes out of the S's. Into the horseshoe, on the brakes, back in, stepping out. And a moment ago, Derek Schilling coming through the S's. And on the power, his back end just steps out. He slams the tire wall. It has been a busy day as a broadcaster today. This morning, GT3 NSS took on Orrin Park. Man, that track was not made for GT3 cars. Derek Schilling has had a problem. He has towed it in. Derek coming out of the horseshoe. And on the front straight, on the power, A big hit into the wall. I'm beginning to wonder if more than just a few drivers took no tires and started paying for it late in the run. Cody Burke took fuel only, as did Stephen Hoffman and JJ Ringo. Craig Stuka also took no tires. Craig now up 8 spots into 11. Jeremy Queener took fuel only. And it looks like Ryan McDaniel took fuel only. Some gutsy strategies early on. And again, these guys are used to very limited fuel, very limited tires. And the leader once again in heavy lap traffic. Let's take another lap on board with Indy the Kid. Out of the first turn, he heads up the hill, avoiding lap traffic. He's on the power, a little downhill before that left-hand turn, and he heads back up. On the power, down the hill at the far end of the track. Goes as wide as you can to get on the power quickly. Turn 7, he aims back down toward the S's, easing onto the power along the way. Feather the throttle a little bit through the tighter section. You can tell he's really having to work that wheel. Does look like the nose is starting to slide just a little bit. Then back on the power toward the kink. And back across the start-finish line. That time by, Indy did a 119.75. Unfortunately, the Dominator is still closing in, as is the GOAT. Austin has caught up to the Dominator. Jesse Gordon, Ryan McDaniel, Brian Hewitt, and Scott Snodgrass have all had problems. All right, there is Jesse as he comes into the horseshoe. On the power, snaps around. A moment later, Brian Hewitt through the S's on the power, big hit. Ryan McDaniel working his way out of the S's into the horseshoe. Goes a little too deep, a little too hard on the brakes and into the tires and collides with Scott. I think those boys might have been mistaken, thought they were doing bumper cars. Cody Burke and Austin Edwards now battling for second and having to battle with lap traffic. Austin does have the fresh tires, the Dominator doesn't. Indy the Kid has about an 8-second lead at the moment. And if you're wondering just how good this kid is in real life, check out Indy Kirchenbauer Racing on Facebook. You will be hearing his name in big-time races before long. Patrick Pieper up into fifth, closing the gap on Chad Ragsdale in fourth. JJ Ringo now in sixth, Stephen Hoffman at seventh, Devin McDonald in eighth. Clay Kirchenbauer now up into ninth, Alex Harper in 10th. And Craig Stuka now up 8 spots into 11th. He is trying to close on Harper. Craig Stuka has had a quiet but consistent night so far. But you gotta hand it to second place Cody Burke, third place Austin Edwards. Both drivers qualified up in the front 2 rows. Both drivers had to go to the tail end of the field to start the race. And now they are second and third. Don't forget, next Sunday night, we're back at Chicagoland, followed by another road course. They are going to go to Watkins Glen. Then in 3 weeks, they are going to one of, if not my favorite track, will be at North Wilkesboro on July 19th. Trevor Lodness had a problem. There's Trevor coming down the hill at the furthest point on the track. Gets on the power, snaps around. And second and third barely squeeze by. And a moment later, Scott Snodgrass also having an issue. Into the horseshoe, just locks the brakes. And folks, don't forget, tomorrow night, World Class Short Track Series is back on track. A lot of your favorite drivers from this group will be in that fight. Mark Kluge has had a problem, as has Raymond Kimmel. All right, there's Kimmel coming into the horseshoe, tries to cut low, but on the power goes around. Mark Kluge snaps loose coming over the hill. And a moment later, Nick Ringo coming into the horseshoe. Nick sends it deep. Does manage to recover, no major problem. Jeremy Davis down at the far end of the track. On the power, just goes around. Man, it is getting wild out here. Tyler Thomas bounces off the wall, gets a bump, and goes back to the wall. Indy Kirchenbauer continuing to extend his lead, now just over 10 seconds as the battle for second heats up. And we're likely to see pit stops next time by. A few of them already in. Raymond Kimmelin, he picked up a black flag on entry. Tyler Thomas also in. Chad Ragsdale now in fourth. Austin is taking second. JJ Ringo is coming in. Stephen Hoffman has slipped back to sixth. But if he can finish tonight in the top five, he will lock into the playoffs. And he is not far behind Patrick Pieper. Indy Kirchenbauer is going to continue to stay out. Austin Edwards came out of the S's in a four-wheel drift that time. The Dominator is in. And I guarantee you, he'll take on tires this time. Chad Ragsdale is coming in. Pieper is going to stay out. And Pieper may have had a problem in the horseshoe. Patrick went a little bit wide, coming out of the S's, held on to it. Gets down into the horseshoe. We've seen this a bunch tonight. Too much brakes, too late, and they go wide. The Dominator is back out on track in fifth. And the leader is in. Indy Kirchenbauer hits his entry perfectly. CJ, based on the lap times we saw in practice, if Cody Burke gets clean air, he'll be unstoppable. Austin Edwards is in. Patrick Pieper is in. Hoffman's staying out. Burke is coming through the horseshoe. Indy is rolling. Indy Kirchenbauer back out on track. Cody Burke takes third. Austin comes out behind. Indy Kirchenbauer came out holding on to the lead, but the Dominator now just 6 seconds behind, with Austin closing in, and they are closing in on Indy. Cody Burke's fastest lap in race trim, 118.16, but we know for a fact he can go faster in practice. He was turning lower 117s. Stephen Hoffman is in for his final stop. Indy out front, Burke in second, Austin in third. Chad Ragsdale back up into fourth. Patrick Pieper may take fifth. Pieper now to fifth. J.J. Ringo now to sixth. Stephen Hoffman in seventh. Devin McDonald in eighth. Shane Hoffman now on his way off pit road. And since pit stops have been completed, let's take a look through the field and see where your favorite driver is. Indy the Kid Kirchenbauer started up front, stayed up front, has led every lap except for pit laps. Cody the Dominator Burke now in second. Remember, Cody and Austin had to go to the tail end of the field. Austin started in 32nd, Cody in 33rd. They are now second and third, and Austin just set the fastest lap of the night, 1:17.42. Chad Ragsdale up 4 spots now into fourth. Patrick Pieper at the moment holds on to fifth. J.J. Ringo currently sits in sixth. After his pit stop, Stephen Hoffman has slipped back into seventh. Devin McDonald now up 3 spots into eighth. Alex Harper up 3 spots into ninth. And Clay Kirchenbauer up 5 spots into 10th. Craig Stuka has been on the move all night, up 8 spots into 11th. The Drift Master himself, Jason Bright, now in 12th. Jeremy Queener currently runs in 13th. Joshua Rudolph up 3 spots now into 14th. Scott Roney up 3 spots into 15th. And Malachi Martin up a whopping 12 spots into 16th. Austin Ruskoff currently runs in 17th. Shane Hoffman back in 18th. Jeremy Davis coming to pit road in 19th. And Tyler Thomas in 20th. Raymond Kimmel had a good start to the race, but has had numerous problems back in 21st. Mark Kluge currently runs in 22nd. Jesse Gordon heads up the hill in 23rd. Jesse up 9 spots despite problems. Scott Snodgrass a little wide. He's mowing the grass for him in 24th. Nick Ringo up 8 spots into 25th. Trevor Lawton currently running in 26th. Brian Hewitt trying to hold on in 27th. Joe Lux currently running in 28th. Ryan McDaniel back in 29th. And Derek Schilling out of the race in 30th. CJ Jeffries, Bill Lux, and David Lux all also out early. Only 3 lead changes here tonight. Indy has led the most laps. Indy has led 37 of the 40 laps here tonight, but he could be in trouble. Cody now just 4.8 seconds back with Austin right there with him. And Burke is drifting it. Indy's lead 4.9 seconds, but it is shrinking as Devin McDonald has had a problem. There's Devin headed into the horseshoe. On the brakes, the back end steps out. He does manage to gather it up. Wow, Indy took that curve hard. And it appears to have cost him a lot of time. Cody Burke, Austin Edwards gained about 0.2 of a second through there. And Brian Hewitt has had a problem. Hey, good evening, Richie. All right, there is Brian as he comes out of the S's into the horseshoe, and once again, too deep, too much brakes. Indy's lead about 4.3 seconds as these two close in. 9 laps to go. Indy cannot afford to make any mistakes or to get stuck behind a lap car for long. Ringo moves over, lets Indy through. Cody Burke, Austin Edwards still nose to tail. Chad Ragsdale still in 4th, but 5th place. Patrick Pieper is closing in. And Stephen Hoffman has run down J.J. Ringo. Oh, Hoffman tried to get to the inside. Ringo slams the door. Indy's lead about 4.5 seconds at the moment. 8 laps to go. Can the kid hold on? Or will 2 of the best drivers on iRacing run him down? Due to some lap traffic, the Dominator got a little bit of room on Austin. Cody now setting his sights fully up ahead. And the gap is shrinking now, 4.1 seconds. Seven laps to go for Indy the Kid Kirchenbauer. His lead just over 4 seconds. Austin Edwards right there in third, caught back up to Burke. Chad Ragsdale still in fourth, Patrick Pieper in fifth. Stephen Hoffman now back up into sixth. And Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. There's Ryan coming through the S's. Just a little too much power, but he does get the brakes locked up, keeps it out of the tires. Austin Ruskoff now 5 spots into 16th. Shane Hoffman up 7 spots into 17th. Malachi Martin has lost a couple of spots. He's now up only 8 spots into 20th. Still a great charge from the back. Indy's lead now 3.9 seconds. And look who's in second, it's the GOAT. Burke has slipped back into third. And Austin is running down Indy the Kid. The gap now just 3.5 seconds. And he does have some clear track and clean air up ahead. With 5 laps to go, can he keep Austin in the mirror? And I have to wonder, we saw Cody drifting a little bit out of turns. I'm wondering if he used up his tires. He is losing ground to Austin. Chad Ragsdale in fourth, Pieper in fifth, and Stephen Hoffman in sixth is closing on Pieper. He's 11.5 seconds back, but 2 seconds a lap faster. Hoffman may still pull off that top 5 and lock into the playoffs. Jeremy Davis had a problem coming up the hill. Looked like Jeremy was a little off pace as he starts up the hill. Gets loose, gets a tap, and goes wide. Ryan McDaniel was rolling off pit road. And looks like he just parked it. Indy will come down this time, get 3 to go. Austin just 2.4 seconds back. Cody Burke another 3 seconds back in third. Chad Ragsdale 30 seconds back in fourth. Patrick Pieper in fifth has cranked it up a bit. As Stephen Hoffman now 15.1 seconds behind. And it is worth noting, Indy has been so fast tonight, only 7 cars are on the lead lap. Austin 2.5 seconds back still. But he is definitely pushing it. And Indy is watching that mirror very closely. Two laps to go for the kid. His lead at the line, 2.1 seconds. Some of the biggest movers of the night, Craig Stuka up 8 spots into 11th. Shane Hoffman up 7 spots into 17th. Malachi Martin up 8 spots into 20th. Jesse Gordon up 8 spots into 24th. Nick Ringo up 8 spots into 25th. And Indy is in lap traffic. Austin is at less than 2 seconds behind. Into the horseshoe for Indy the Kid Kirchenbauer. And Barney waves the white flag one more time around for the kid. His lead right at 2 seconds over Austin Edwards. Cody Burke still back in third. Indy at the far end of the track has opened up. A bit of a gap on Austin again. Indy's lead now 3 seconds. As he comes through the S's for the final time. Austin 3 seconds behind, will not be able to get to him. And here comes Indy the Kid out of the horseshoe. He will pull off the win tonight at Sonoma. Austin Edwards with the late race charge, coming home in second, and the Dominator finishes third. And man, what a race. You gotta hand it to the kid. He held on to it. No mistakes here tonight. And I do believe, I'm double checking, I believe this is Indy's first race of the season. And just to make it a little bit better, today is Indy the kid's birthday. He's going to be celebrating his birthday in Victory Lane tonight. All right, let's talk to our top three, starting with third place, Cody Burke. Cody, you came home in third. Kind of weird. It's normal for you to be on the podium, but usually on the top.
Yeah, I made too many mistakes there and pitted a lap too soon. I thought I was going to be better off on fuel, but wasn't, and was running out pretty quick and had to save a little bit those last 5 laps. But it is what it is. It was a fun race. It was crazy starting from the back there. Didn't know if we would get through the first couple laps and even have a race car left. So no, it was a good one. Congrats, Indy.
I do have to say, when you guys went to the back, because if I recall last year, you didn't have to go to the tail for road races. But, man, that definitely made for a heck of a run up through the field.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I would rather start from the front. It is what it is.
Oh, man, a great job. Another great finish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Austin the Goat Edwards comes home in second. Austin, how many more laps did you need?
Well, Doug, I'd like to say that I just ran out of time, but, unfortunately, I made a couple of bad decisions and ran out of tires. So, after coming from the back, I really can't ask for much else. But, had good speed. Had to race Cody pretty hard there to get up to second. Pretty much him and me most of the race trying to chase down Indy, but ultimately made a couple of bad decisions, got into a couple of lap cars, got some aero damage, and I feel like we should have had more speed at the end there than we did. But, give it all we did, and can't complain too much from last to second.
Definitely cannot. That was one heck of a charge, and that late race run once you got past Cody, that was really impressive, man. A great run tonight, buddy.
Thank you, Doug.
And our winner, the birthday boy, Indy the Kid Kirchenbauer. Indy, how old are you today? 15, right?
Yeah, 15.
Wow. Well, a great birthday celebrating in Victory Lane. You got to be pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely a good birthday present to get in Victory Lane for the first time in this league. My first race this season, I just was having fun in officials this week with Sonoma and both of the cars. Thinking I'd hop in here for some fun. I didn't expect to be anywhere near the front. I mean, Cody start from the rear definitely helped me a lot, but yeah, I was just cool, still able to be close at the end. I think that it's definitely a really cool victory on a road course. It's just super fun, and yeah, I'm very pleased.
Well, man, definitely a great birthday gift. A heck of a dominant performance tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Indy the Kid back in Victory Lane. And guys, don't forget, tomorrow night, World Class Short Track Series, 7:30 Eastern. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow night with a lot of your favorite racers doing some short tracking. See you tomorrow, everybody.